This audit is the first of our two audits of the Nova Scotia Liquor Corporation. In this audit, we examined the corporation's promotion of responsible drinking, support of the local industry, capital planning and procurement, and agency store contract management. The second audit of the Nova Scotia Liquor Corporation is currently being completed and is examining product management and governance. This audit will be reported at a later date. This audit of the Nova Scotia Liquor Corporation was important for many reasons, including the significance of the corporation to the Nova Scotia economy. On average, the Nova Scotia Liquor Corporation has over $600 million in annual sales, resulting in earnings of over $200 million per year, most of which goes to the province to support other programs and initiatives. Part of the Nova Scotia Liquor Corporation's mandate is to promote the industrial and economic objectives of the beverage alcohol industry in the province, which has recently seen rapid growth. The number of local alcohol manufacturers in the province has more than doubled over the last 5 years, and sales of these manufacturers' products through the corporation has almost tripled to over $45 million. We examined how the Nova Scotia Liquor Corporation was addressing this aspect of its mandate. Another key factor in choosing to complete this audit was the important role the corporation plays in keeping alcohol out of the hands of minors and promoting responsible consumption. I now want to share with you the results of our audit work at the Nova Scotia Liquor Corporation. Firstly, the corporation does not have an adequate strategic plan for its role in supporting the local alcohol industry. We concluded that the Nova Scotia Liquor Corporation lacks overall planning and evaluation methods to support the local industry. Although it is a key area of the corporation's 2015-2020 strategic plan, goals and objectives for how the Nova Scotia Liquor Corporation will support the local beverage alcohol industry are not specific or measurable, and there is poor accountability for the established strategies. For example, we found tasks created to support the industry were marked as complete by the Nova Scotia Liquor Corporation, even though they were not yet finished. As well, the Nova Scotia Liquor Corporation noted items as in progress, but we found no further actions were taken to address them. For example, the Nova Scotia Liquor Corporation did not clarify agreements with other provinces on beer trade or create guidance specific to local manufacturers. We also found that the Nova Scotia Liquor Corporation, in some cases, did not document markup structures for locally manufactured alcohol. We also determined that the Nova Scotia Liquor Corporation did not have a detailed risk analysis for compliance with trade agreements, and the Nova Scotia Liquor Corporation did not evaluate the impact of the markup structures that were in place. Secondly, we found that the Nova Scotia Liquor Corporation is not adequately monitoring or reporting against established performance measures for programs promoting responsible drinking. We concluded that the Nova Scotia Liquor Corporation's training to support responsible retailing practices, such as age verification, is not being completed in a timely manner in the Nova Scotia Liquor Corporation's corporate stores. We found 2/3 of the Nova Scotia Liquor Corporation's employees tested had not completed the required training within the 30-day time frame. In fact, new hires of the Nova Scotia Liquor Corporation took an average of 119 days to complete training. Also, the Nova Scotia Liquor Corporation is not monitoring training for new hires at agency stores, and we saw little evidence of training occurring at these stores. The Nova Scotia Liquor Corporation is not adequately managing its program in place to monitor that valid identification is requested for retail sales. The Nova Scotia Liquor Corporation's requirement is that anyone aged 30 or under is to be asked for ID, and the program in place to monitor this uses only participants who are aged 19 to 23. We found that breweries had the lowest compliance, failing to request identification over 60% of the time when visited by a participant in the Nova Scotia Liquor Corporation's program. The corporation did nothing with this information, and the Nova Scotia Liquor Corporation did not share their concerns with the breweries. Also, it is important to note that only 4 breweries are included in this statistic, as the vast majority of local alcohol manufacturers operating retail stores are not monitored through this program by the corporation. Other stores had better, although far from perfect, results. The Nova Scotia Liquor Corporation's corporate stores fared the best, with a 12% failure rate, while agency stores failed 19% of their visits, and private wine and beer stores, in fact, failed 37% of the time. Private stores were the same as breweries, in that the Nova Scotia Liquor Corporation did not even share the results of this monitoring with them. While agency stores were in fact told of their results, the Nova Scotia Liquor Corporation does not have a follow-up process in place to make sure that issues are addressed. Thirdly, the Nova Scotia Liquor Corporation has a plan in place for improvement of the retail store network and follows their procurement processes with only minor issues identified. Overall, the corporation is doing a good job of capital procurement and has completed a full review of the condition of their corporate retail stores, including the development of a store improvement plan and a new branding strategy. We did find the Nova Scotia Liquor Corporation had plans to change some corporate stores to agency stores, which, while supported by the corporation's board of directors, has not been implemented due to uncertainty around the Nova Scotia Liquor Corporation's authority to carry this out. We will look closer at these issues in our audit of governance practices in Phase 2 of our audit. Finally, we found the Nova Scotia Liquor Corporation has signed agreements with clearly defined terms and conditions for the agency store program, and the internal audit process to assess compliance with most aspects of these agreements is functioning as intended, with the exception of the training and identification concerns we have already addressed. We have made 11 recommendations to the Nova Scotia Liquor Corporation, and they have agreed to implement each of them. I believe these recommendations will improve how the corporation plans for and supports the local alcohol manufacturing industry and how they monitor programs that promote responsible drinking. It is now up to the leaders at the Nova Scotia Liquor Corporation to ensure that these improvements are in fact put in place. I have included 5 questions that Nova Scotians may want to ask the Nova Scotia Liquor Corporation about their plans for improvement.